Hello, 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 and welcome back to Boss Gals. I am your co host, Casey,
And I'm Yolanda.
and I hope everybody tuned into episode 3 where we talked about career transitions and getting unstuck. Now, our special guests, Nikita and Jacqueline, y'all, they blessed us with some just gems.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked about how they started, about how they kind of leveled their mind up to get where they are now. And even Jacqueline talked about creating something while in waiting to get to where she wanted to go. So we wanted to continue the discussion because it was getting so good, we had to wrap things up. So we're really going to get deep in the mix of things because we're first going to talk about why we stay stuck. So you got to ask yourself the question, why am I still stuck where I am? And then how to get unstuck. And then Jacqueline is going to bless us with some scriptures that will just keep our mind, our mental, where we need to be. And I think that's going to be absolutely awesome. So I want to hold y'all. Let's get right to it. So remember, we have our guest, Nikita, and we have Jacqueline. Nikita is in the corporate sector, and Jacqueline is in the government sector. So they're kind of the same worlds, but still a little bit different. So they're both of their experience and knowledge is quite helpful on today's episode. So let's start off, Nikita. I'll let you go first. Why do we stay stuck? What is going on up in here that keeps us stuck where we are?
Because it's easier than doing the work to get unstuck, right? Like most of it is comfort, right? Like we are we are creatures of habit. And it is really, really easy to get comfortable in situations. Even in situations, you can be really, really comfortable in uncomfortable situations, right? You acclimated to it, you know what it is, you kind of know what to expect from it, you know how to operate within it. And it's just like, well, this is the situation that I know. The unknown can be scary, right? A lot of the times we allow our fear, and I am preaching to myself when I say this, we allow our fear to hold us hostage, like the fear of the unknown, the unrealistic fear of failure, because we can't be perfect. We're not perfect, so we're gonna fail at something. We allow those things to hold us kind of captive, more often than we should. Um, and it's just hard. Change is hard. Doing something different and staying consistent in it and staying motivated in it and staying disciplined in it is a challenge. And that's, a lot of the times you see things, we see the other sides of it, specifically in social media, right? We see the other sides of it, but it's hard to really produce the effort and the motivation that it takes to get to the other side of it.
Okay. So I want anybody on the panel to chime in. Let's talk about change. Why is change so hard?
I want to piggyback off of what Nikita said about comfort zone, right? We get in our comfort zone. It's like a relationship, right? You are accustomed to the person or persons or the relationship that you have. While it may not be what you want or it may not be the best for you at that time, because we evolve, we change all the time. It's more work to, be free and start over again, right? To get something else that aligns with where you are now, where you've grown now. And comfort zone can be the enemy, right? It's a little lazy, right? It's a little lazy to complain about every little thing, whether that be systems or people or persons. Like, if you could do it better, or if you can change the situation, then it takes some courage to step up and do something a little bit different. So I think that is what we do. We brainwash ourselves, right, into that comfort zone instead of challenging ourselves to do something different.
I like that, brainwash instead of challenging. So we need to challenge ourselves because the comfort zone can be the enemy. Wow, that's unique. Yolanda, any tips on why we stay stuck? Nikita said creatures of habit, fear, change is hard. So any
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's really nothing I can add to that. But again, that fear is real, right? Whether it is, like she said, fear of the unknown, Sometimes, I've talked to mentees and they, for instance, if they have, young children, right, or in their current role, they have some flexibility. Not sure if they'll be able to still have that flexibility. Not sure if, this new role is going to require more time and more effort of them, right? And so there are some valid reasons, right, in some instances why people kind of stay where they are. But changes can be really wonderful, right? The other thing is, that fear of the unknown, because here's the reality. Sometimes you can take a new role and you get in that role and you regret right, the fact that you took that new role. But and I don't want to get into. I'm not going to tell you what I do to combat that, but I want to put a pin in that right there, and come back to that, because that's a reality that it could happen. We know people who that's happened to. We've seen it. We may have even experienced it ourselves. I know I have. I was in a role for a year. 6 months into that role, I'm like, I don't. I don't know, but I don't know if it was on the last episode, or, I'm starting to get, they're all starting to run together, but, that loyalty factor, right, kicked in. And so I was like, I can't, and this is another reason why people get stuck, right? Because you feel like you can't leave this thing, they're depending on you, right? A number of factors kind of feed into that.
Okay, some good points there. So now that we kind of dived into why people stay stuck, like what are our steps? So we've talked about why people stay stuck. The next thing is, when you've gotten yourself unstuck, you've landed that job. Maybe the opposite of what Yolanda says, you actually like it. You are thriving in that role. You get comfortable again. Years are coming and they're going. And once again, you've landed back in the mud, stuck, because you're comfortable. You made the jump, you liked it. It was beneficial. How do you avoid running back into the same pattern? You and really, I want y'all to dive into, because generational gaps are real. Baby boomers stayed at the job forever. Okay. I'm borderline millennial, Generation X. I think we kind of, Generation X, we tip with our parents. Baby boomers stay there. These millennials and Gen Y and Zers, they're like, nah, player, I'm not staying there that long. I'm getting out. It's been 4 months. I've done what I needed to do. I'm being sarcastic when I say that, but again, how can you, for some of the millennials or Gen Y and X who may, get that role, they're excited that they landed something and they stay there and they get back in that rhythm again. How can we kind of refresh ourselves? Hit that refresh button every so often. What's the time frame to hit refresh? How do we keep from staying unstuck?
I would say quarterly, right? I'm used to quarterly reporting or overviews or debriefing. Quarterly, you should get in the habit of, again, updating your resume. What new skills are you implementing? What things do you want to learn? What can be reimbursed through the employment that you have now that's going to help you where you are now and where you're going to go? And always to be challenged, right? Because comfort zone does not like a challenge, does not like when things change, right? So you also, it would be helpful to have a coach, an accountability partner, to keep you focused on, can we review, are you going to revisit that certification you want to get? And didn't you say you want to go that way? I'm just sort of reminding you. I think those are some things. If somebody that you can rely on an unbiased opinion, to also give you that little push to do something different is my suggestion.
Love it. Love it. Anyone else?
Yeah, I see it. We talked a lot about self-assessment in the last episode, and I really think it goes back to that, right? I think we have to ask ourselves some questions, because comfortable and contentment, right, are they kind of go hand in hand, and sometimes I need to ask myself the question to be okay with the fact that I'm good where I am. right? Like, this is good. I've done the struggle. I've worked hard to get here. I've been here for 2 years. And guess what? It's the job that I enjoy. I like the people. There's a good work-life balance. So, am I in the situation that I want to be in? Is this where I want it to be? What are my next growth goals? What do I want to do next? Is that the time? Is that time now? Or do I have some flexibility to allow myself, some leeway and some time to enjoy this space of contentment, right? Because specifically, I think as Black women, we are always, and especially in this new hustle culture, right? It's all about the hustle, and we are burning ourselves at both ends and doing that, right? So I do think it has to be an intentional assessment of where I am, and first being okay with, if I'm good where I am, I'm good, and that's good, right? And being able to celebrate that victory. And if there's something else, if you're ready to grow beyond that, then hey, start to then go back to that self-assessment. What does this look like? What are my next goals? How do I identify those next steps? And then, having those people in your circle who hold you accountable for what's to come or where you want to be next.
I like that. That sounds like an invention, like a self-assessment where we kind of gotta, put a timer in our app where it reminds us, hey, it's been 6 or 7 months. Let's do an assessment. Where are you? How do you feel? Do
For
you
anybody watching, we're gonna patent that for Casey, just in case. Like, it's you
No, no,
can't
no,
take
no, I'm not. You
right
can have it. Just cut
now.
me my check of the royalties in advance.
Right.
Y'all can take it and run with it. But I mean, I think that's important because I think we could just keep going and going and going. And especially like when we're parents or we're guardians or if we're caretakers, we can get so wrapped up in our career, our home life, our extracurricular. If the kids play a sport, if we do church, I'm a pet mom as well. You just forget to ask yourself, how am I doing?
Yep.
Where am I at?
Yeah.
I think I think we get to the point where we finally start to feel the burn coming, where we realize it's too late by then because now you're burning, and the burnout is like you're there, and now you need to take some time to reset. So I think before the burnout happens, there should be some sort of app or timer or some check-in. For now, I would say people that are watching, be that accountable friend that texts all your friends maybe every 6 months and say, where are y'all at? How you doing? How are you doing with your jobs? Do you like where you at? Until we can get this app developed, they will be rich. I will just sit in the back and float on my yacht in Tahiti.
For me, I usually know when it's time for a change, when I become an SME, which is a subject matter expert.
It's me.
It's me in something, right? Once I get really, really, really good at something, like really, really, really good, then not long after that, then I start getting bored.
Ooh.
And so at that point, right, it's time, because I am a lifelong learner, right? I do like those challenges. I do like learning different things and challenging myself. So when I become a SME, a little while after that is when I begin thinking about, okay, what's next? I need to do something new, right? And it doesn't have to be drastic, right? As a matter of fact, something that's very interesting, I've never had this happen before. My current manager, I don't know, 5 months into my role, began asking me questions about what I would want to do next, right? So that's kind of a dream for me, somebody who wants to continuously learn. And so I'm not even a year into the role, and I'm preparing for the next thing. I'm starting to what do you call it? Shadow someone in my group who's on a completely different team, so that when the time comes, I'll be ready to bust a move, right? And so I'm thinking, maybe another year, because there's some things that I want to accomplish on this team first before I make that move. But I'm already preparing myself for the next thing.
I like that. I'm gonna tell y'all a funny story. The last place I worked at, they kept saying, you're gonna be the SME on this topic. You're gonna be the SME. You're gonna be the SME. I just kept hearing the word SME. And I just was shaking my head like, okay. and going to work. And then finally one day I think I stopped and I said, what does this mean? Why do y'all keep calling me that? And they was like, you are a subject matter expert. And I was like, thank you. And I mean, it was a whole burden off my shoulder because I said, they keep calling me this name. I'm a SME, I'm a SME, I'm a SME. And I was just going with it. I was like, okay, good. And finally, I just had to stop. So for those of you who are in the workforce, when you hear the word SME, you are a subject matter expert. And we're all in something. So
I want to go back and touch on something Nikita said about, you know, the people who are actually good, right? Good where they are. They're not stuck. They've made a decision to be where they are. We don't want to discount that. I have a coworker who is hilarious, right? She is a few years away, not long, I don't think, from retirement. And so whenever it's goal setting time, she says, I can't really say it to my manager, but I don't have any goals. I don't aspire to anything except to retire, right? And so she's not stuck. She's like,
she's waiting to that.
That's right.
Countdown.
Now she performs, right? She's a manager and everything, but she is like, this is going to be my final resting place.
I wonder what she says in her like one-on-one meetings.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she probably says that, right? But I mean, but there are people who are, you know, and I know another young lady who just loves her role so much. She literally does not want to do anything else because she loves it. So there are two people, but we are focusing on the people who are desiring, right? Kind of have that desire to do something else, to do more, to be more in the role, to make more impact, to learn something different. And how do you get from that place over here, A, to P, where you want to be?
But I don't want to leave those people out, the people who are very happy, because here's sometimes, and I don't wish this on anybody, sometimes you're forced out of something that you're very happy in. And then you panic and you got to start. I'm going to say, it's not always me, because I've always, you know, left a lot of the places I worked at on a good note, I'll say. But for people that are like laid off or unexpectedly the whole company shuts down and you're like, where's my resume? I got to put this together. What skills did I learn while I was in that role? So I think even if you are happy in the place that you're in, stay there. But I think a self-assessment is still needed so that in the event, it's like putting money away for a rainy day. In the event, and we don't wish anything negative, but in the event something happens, you are readily prepared to go ahead and start shooting your resume or start having an idea of where do I want to go now that I've maybe am not in that current role. So, you know, just for people that are happy. So
I think the other thing that is important to note, because I know that we have, you know, some folks who are viewing who really benefit from like concrete timelines and time frames, right? And so if you're in a new role, remembering to give yourself some grace in the fact that it's going to take you 12 to 18 months to learn it and become proficient in it, right? And so if I'm in the role and I'm proficient by 18 months, then I could easily have another 18 months to 2 years in that role before I feel like I'm the chosen, I'm the SME, I know where all the things lie, I understand all of the underlying elements of the job. And I could be at year 4 or year 5 before I'm like, okay, you know what? I feel like it's time for me to do something different. And of course, there's always a range of scale, you know, just dependent on who you are and the personality that you have. But it's a really good kind of average template for I've been in this role. This is about the amount of time that, you know, for some of us, we may be starting to get that little itch if I want to do something different, and what that should look like. And throughout that time, you know, we are actively trying to be intentional about taking self-assessment of where I am, what my goals are, what I desire for my next steps, and then if what I'm doing currently is working for me to attain that next goal. If it's not, then we reassess and we readjust in that moment, right? We don't have to wait to do that.
Yeah, I'll also say that being current on LinkedIn, is I mentioned that last time, is very helpful.
okay.
I was just solicited over the weekend, somebody said, "Oh, we were very impressed with your experiences in project management and program management, and we'd love to talk to you about blah 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 blah." And while I have checked that I'm interested, I'm not actively looking. I was able to say, I appreciate you for pointing out some things. Right now, this is not what I'm interested in. I thank you for the opportunity. However, in the future, I look forward to revisiting some positions you might have. And so maybe that is something that might come up. You might not even be thinking about it. But one, you get to see your value. You get to see in the marketplace something parallel or something maybe different, right? I didn't dip my toe all the way in the water and look at the whole position because, I really am not ready to leave where I am right now. I have some business to finish up, some personal goals and some professional goals. And when you look and you're not ready, you could wind up in a position like Yolanda said, where how did I get here? And you can't. I should say you can't. You can do whatever you need to do, but chasing the money does not always benefit you, right? You have to know the difference between, your value and chasing some funds, right? So I think that we need to be cognizant and aware that somebody is always evaluating you, even if you're not looking to move someplace.
All right now. Okay, so those were some good and valid points. So now, Jacqueline, to the folks who may feel stuck and they are really going to benefit from watching this episode. What are some, you said it's all in the mind and it's a mental thing. So like give us some tips. What is it that you do to kind of help while you're in your waiting period? Because you're saying you're not ready yet, but you know you will get there soon. So what do you do as you wait mentally? What are some things you do?
Mentally, it is a discipline, it is a practice, just like spiritually it is a practice to believe that you are covered, right? So I think I'd also mentioned before that the cliches come up. Nothing will come before its time, or you are covered, and you may not want to hear that too much, but it is about your mind and reconditioning your mind. Like you can brainwash yourself for positive or negative, right? And so some of the scriptures that have helped me and it came up when I was evaluating like being stuck was Isaiah 55, 8 and 9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. So you can have a desire or a goal and you're thinking of something, but it still does not compare to the destiny and what is planned for you, right? So sometimes we have to help ourselves by releasing, right? You have a desire, you pray on it. It may not come to fruition right now, but it's all a part of the plan, right? And then the second scripture I wanted to share was Deuteronomy 31 and 8. The Lord Himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Right? So, if we believe and we have faith, we have to understand that in the spiritual realm, that God or your belief system goes before you and it's already done. It's already done. And so you have to remember those things and be strong, but also it is a strength to let go. It is a strength to help somebody else because you don't know how that's going to come back to you.
I love that. Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. So thank you for giving us some of that. Anybody else have ways or things that you do, as you're waiting maybe to transition to something else? And it may not even be career wise, it could be something else. What are some ways that you kind of, while you're waiting to get out or transition to something?
Yeah, one of the things that you should never do is wait until you're ready to apply to start reaching out to people. So prior to you being ready, right, you should be laying some groundwork, right? You should be building those relationships. I don't use the networking, the N word, right? You should be building relationships. You should be reaching out to people. You should be asking people. Let's say if you are, if you're looking for another role where you currently work, right? It's easy to meet someone and ask for 30 minutes, right? To find out about what they do and have a recurring, touch base, maybe if it's in an area that you're interested in, to so that they could understand who you are, understand what you're doing, so that when the time comes, you're top of mind, right? And if you're not top of mind, at minimum, when you apply for a role, you have somebody who can give you a reference, right? And I think in this day and age, people think that you don't need references anymore, right? Because we don't have that kind of same application anymore, right? And the resume that says references and you list those people. But whenever I apply for a role, I have people who to send emails of recommendation to the hiring manager after I've interviewed. But to the point, you should begin building those relationships well before it's time for you to make that move and nurture those relationships, because somebody knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. The other thing is everybody, their mama, their papa, Boo Boo, Skeeter, and all of them, everybody should know.
Boo Boo and Skeeter?
Oh, yeah, Boo Boo and Skeeter too. They all should know that you are looking for a role, that you will be looking for a role, and what it is that you want to do. And it doesn't have to be specific, right? It can be general, right? I'm going to be applying for a role in 6 months, right? I'm going to be looking for a role in 6 months. I'd really like to, go into program management. And you will be surprised at how many people, when you tell them things like that, will connect you to somebody else, or know somebody who is in that, and they'll start sending you, right, recs that they see, that they hear of, that they know of. And so again, begin preparing that way well before it's time for you to start looking for a new role.
So for y'all watching, Yolanda is saying you can build a relationship with her. Reach out to her, and she will.
What they can.
She'll get you going in the right direction. So no, that's what Boss Gals is for. I like that. We're no longer networkers. We're relationship builders.
Relationship builders.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I like that. Nikita, any words from you on what are some things you do in your, mentally, physically, what do you do?
So I am a solid believer in positive affirmations, right? And surrounding yourself with reminders. So like to the point where, and I haven't done it. We moved, but I haven't done it in my new house, but I need to do it. But in my old house, I had a mirror at the bottom of my steps, and the scripture on the mirror would change, But Philippians 4:13 was always one of the constants. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and so that was a reminder for me. It was a reminder for my children. It was a reminder for everybody in my house who came through, who saw that, right? So having things that are visual. I'm a visual learner. I know it. I like to see things and have things kind of in front of me. And so I do the same thing with, when I need a positive reminder. Y'all see, like if you could see the up close of my office, you'd be surprised how many little notes and little nooks and things are around here that I see, and they give me that vote of encouragement or confidence, because sometimes we don't have people who are going to pour that into you, so you have to be intentional about doing it for yourself. I think the other thing is giving yourself some grace, right? Again, if we go back to like social media and the constructs around what we see and how we see, other people's lives, we see the highlight reel, right? And it's really, really easy to interpret that as everybody has it all together but me. Right. So I think it's really important that we are intentional about the grace that we allow for ourselves. That it may not necessarily happen in our time, but God's time is always the right time. And being able to just kind of walk in that and remind yourself of that as you navigate through the process. It may, for some of us, it may feel like a quick process when you look back on it, but when we're going through it, most of the time it doesn't feel, quick. So just being intentional about showing up for yourself, giving yourself some grace, having people who are going to support you and celebrate you and champion you, and encourage you, on the hard days, and taking it one day at a time. That's the best, doing the best you can do with what you can do.
I love that. Y'all have given out several scriptures. And one scripture that I do want to say is that faith without works is dead. And
Mhm.
so, you've
There you
got
go.
to, if you're shy, you're going to have to just murmur up the courage to, when you're ready, to say hello. One thing that I do now in my job is I send out 3 check-ins a week to people that I don't know. Say, hey, what is it that I can help you with? And that helps to build a relationship for them to know, hey, I'm here if you need me. And then it allows me to introduce myself to people that I don't know. And I've met some very, good people from doing that. So put your faith to work, like in whatever it is that you whatever that area of your life is that maybe you're not as comfortable. You may not like to talk to people, you may not like to send emails to strangers, you may not like to not network, but even I'll say network still. Go out and meet people, shake hands, ask someone, what do you do in your department? Just build up, find that strength to build up the courage to be able to do those things so that you can, baby steps. So I don't think anyone here is telling you to take a giant step, but baby steps get you along the way. I think for me, what's going to resonate is the self-assessment. That I cannot leave that alone. You gotta. So I think everyone listening, we got to stop. Just every 6 months, every 3 months, stop and self-assess. If, like Yolanda says, you're okay, thumbs up. We love you. If, like Jacqueline says, you need some scriptures to get you moving, get it. Get them in your head. Keep affirming yourself. And Nikita said the same thing. Write it on Post-it notes. And then also, like Nikita says, if you can't get the circle of friends, remind yourself you are it. So I do love the circle of friends too. But if you can't get that, just keep affirming to yourself that you got it until you get there. So I think these are really good tips that'll help people um, while they're trying to get that transition done. And don't beat yourself up. Nikita said that. Please don't beat yourself up. Give yourself grace. It will take some time. So I'm happy. I think with what we've discussed, we're going to help a lot of people. Any closing, we won't call them arguments, just closing statements that you all want to end on before we say goodbye, or until next time. Goodbye.
Yeah, I've got one. So I was a little earlier looking at up a scripture. I've got my own.
Okay.
Um, and it's in Philippians. This is a popular book apparently. But again, getting unstuck, and Nikita talked about those positive affirmations, and sometimes again we have those negative thoughts. And one of the scriptures that I really really love in terms of battling negativity is Philippians 4:8, and it says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. And so that's what I would like to leave, in terms of getting unstuck. Think about the good things, right? Don't give yourself that negative talk. Think about, like Nikita said, I can do all things, right? Through Christ that strengthens me. If you're not a Christian and you're listening to this, whatever your faith is, right? Lean on that, and give yourself, find some positive affirmations. So that's what I would say.
All right. Thank you for that. Nikita or Jacqueline, any closing statements?
I just wanted to just comment that if nothing else, if you watch your breathing, if you take 3, seconds to breathe in and breathe out, right? To relax your shoulders, right? To get into a place that you can, be quiet and quiet your mind or your surroundings. Or some people go into a prayer closet. I think breathing is another indication, that you're doing a self check or an assessment. Is your rhythm going too fast? Slow it down sometimes, right? Just by breathing in and out, could help calm you and get into a space where then you can be in touch with your thoughts and your emotions. So um, that's another thing that I do to get myself quiet it down.
Love it. And Nikita, any closing statements?
I would just, want to encourage, the panel, but also encourage the viewers that we have the ability to really kind of change what our trajectory is, right?
Mhm.
If we're intentional about what that looks like. So, what is it, 2025? 2019, you would not have told me, January 2019, you would not have told me that my life would be as different as it is now, right at 6 years later. And a lot of that was just because it was adamant, intentional decisions and baby steps. Those were not big girl leaps. I promise you, they were baby steps. But it was just continuing to make those baby steps, right? Taking it one step at a time. And so my encouragement to each of you is to do that, to take the first step and then take the second step. And if you need a day off, take one day, don't take two, and then take the next set of steps, right? And eventually you will start to see that progression that you're looking for.
I love that. All right. Well, I hope.
Wait, I'm sorry, I have one more thing to say. And I think, I know, Casey, I know, wrap it up.
No. I'm just.
I do want to leave this because we said it before, but I want to make sure we leave this at the end. Again, make sure that you are checking in with your mentors or accountability partners or peer coaches, right? Because sometimes you don't have all that you need to get unstuck, and you need that extra little push with somebody who's walking beside you and encouraging you. If you are unable to motivate yourself, sometimes you need that extra. So make sure that you have a person or some persons, right? I have multiple mentors or some persons that's walking with you, helping you, guiding you, and keeping you accountable to reach those goals. Don't be like my coworker and have no goals and aspirations. Get your mentors, to, and friends and sister friends to help you get unstuck.
I like it.
And if the group would have to guess what my closing statement would be, self. All right. So thank you so much for tuning into Boss Gals, this part 2 episode. I hope that it blessed you. Remember, go back and watch episode 3 and then come on over here to episode 3.2, or we'll call it episode 4. And again, remember, Jacqueline is an author. So is Lady J Thorne, right? On all social media handles.
LadyJThorne@gmail.com as well.
At gmail.com. If you want to reach out, let's try to order the book directly from Jacqueline instead of going through the A word. It's not a bad word, but we want to support our authors and people directly. And then also with Nikita, she has some things going on. I think the What's on Your Plate really, had my eyebrow peeking up here the other day. So, just reach out to us and we can get you in contact with them if you need them. And so we thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Be on the lookout for episode 4 or 5. Can't wait to know who our guest will be. I'm sure Jacqueline and Nikita will be back. But we have new guests that are forthcoming. So be sure to check us out. And we thank you all. So remember, tell us your success stories. If in 6 or 7 months you have a success story for us, make sure you reach out and let us know that, hey, you took those steps and you got unstuck and you're somewhere where you really want to be. And we're going to cheer you on and root for you. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a marvelous day. See ya.